Mike took up the challenge. Mike did his favorite black films of all time. Mike, where we at? Starting off at number 6.
We're going to start off at number 6. The cultural phenomenon of the Black Panther was number 6 to me, right? Now, was it one of the greatest movies I've ever seen? For me, no, but it was one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had in terms of the hype, the investment that went into that movie, and it delivered. It's hard to be so hyped and then you go and experience and you're like, oh, man, it didn't live up to the hype. That movie in every single way lived up to everything that went into it, so I was proud of Black Panther, so that made my number 6. Number 5, this is a throwback here, A Soldier Story. It's one of Denzel Washington's earliest movies, and it was about it was a military-style movie, and it was about a black captain and his infantry and how you can talk about racism, but when you start infighting within yourself, sometimes our own self-loathing and our own self-hate can sometimes come up and hurt us more so than the external racism as well too. So that was a great movie. It was dramatic. It was a spin. It kind of took you and led you some ways and then brought you back and you were like, wow, I didn't see this coming. Soldier Story was a great movie I saw early on in my life and it still holds up to this. So that was my number 5. Number 4, this is my Cooley High. So it's Boys in the Hood.
There we go.
Where my parents loved Cooley High. That was the defining high school coming of age tragedy type movie for them. Boys in the Hood was for me. Same stage it hit me at, I think I want to say 10th or 11th grade in high school when it came out. Ice Cube, John Singleton, just being an athlete in high school at that time, growing up in neighborhoods that were tough, where violence and gangs kind of permeated what your existence was. That movie was something that a lot of us in my community lived through. Like, I knew what it was like. I knew I had an uncle who got killed, who got shot, and he had a scholarship waiting on him. He played football. He was supposed to go to big time Division I. Got shot, in the wrong crowd, and the violence that begat that violence, the comeback, the get back, all of that. It resonated with me. So that movie stuck out to me as well too. So that's 5, 4, 3. My number 3, Spike Lee, Denzel Washington again, Mo Better Blues.
That's
just because the Mo Better Blues to me, when we talk about Kinda Blue with Miles Davis and John Coltrane, the Mo Better Blues, that's kind of what that movie was kind of about. You had Denzel Washington and then you had Wesley Snipes, the trumpet and the saxophone player, going through life in fashion. I love jazz. I love blues. That movie had a great soundtrack with it too. So that's my number 3. My number 2, Denzel is up there again. Malcolm X.
Denzel and Spike Lee.
And Spike Lee again. Yep. Malcolm X, I thought that was the, you talk about defining movies, that allowed me and gave me a reason to go deep into my research with Malcolm X. I have more books and have read more books on Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, and Martin Luther King than anything. Like, I got a library of those books and their speeches and all of those things. But to see that movie, to see all that went into it, and it took a community of top African-American actors, entertainers, and activists to get that movie across the finish line. Yeah. By the time it got produced, Spike Lee wasn't able to pay everybody, right? And they had to make their money on the back end, depending on how successful the movie was going to be. But to see how Denzel Washington really dove into becoming Malcolm X, from the way he wore his glasses to the mannerisms, man, that was big time right there. So that was my number 2. And my number 1, I got to go lighter now at number 1.
Yeah, you hit us real heavy, Mike.
Yeah, I hit you heavy on that one. But this one, if there's one movie I know every single line to, it is Coming to America.
There we go.
It is Coming to America. And, this was one of those movies where you can put on a scene and you can put it on, it can come on any time of any day, and I'm going to stop and watch at least 20 minutes of it. Because it's just, it was funny. It was about black entrepreneurship. It was about black family wealth. It was taking it back to Africa, so there was some Africanism in it, Pan-Africanism in it. And it was just funny, man. It was just, it birthed a lot of careers too. From Samuel L. Jackson to, obviously Eddie Murphy, Arsenio Hall, Chris Rock was in there. Mm-hmm. Just different people throughout different states. John Amos was in there from Good Times. It brought people back. But it was one of those movies, man, where you just, it felt good to see it. I remember going to the theater to see it, and I've probably seen that movie 200 times.